I mean, why not, right? Oh my gosh. Thank y'all all for being here. So I am so excited. I am putting people, like everybody's requesting to come into the room right now. So all of the new people that are brand new to Paint Party headquarters, just kind of wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. Okay. I am so happy, so honored. I'm so excited. We're actually going to just spend the next hour answering your questions. And actually, what we're going to do, so I don't know if y'all have used Zoom a lot. You could probably so in the past couple of years. You can chat your question or you can do a raise hand. And what we're going to do over this kind of round table is I have 6 people from Paint Party headquarters. Oh, there's another one, Monique and April. I see y'all jumping on. That are going to actually help answer these questions for y'all. So I have Annie on here. Annie, you want to raise your hand so Ray can see you? Annie, what's your business name?
Divine Design Paint Studio.
Awesome. Okay, so y'all, what I want y'all to hear is because these people are teaching paint parties. Some are new to teaching paint parties. Some have been doing it for a long time. So I wanted you to kind of see all levels. Because I know a lot of us are brand new and some of us have been doing this a while. So I'm going to let the experts kind of say their name, their business name, and how long they've been teaching paint parties. So Annie, let's go. I'm going to have you do it again. I apologize. I'm going to have you start again.
Hi, Annie. I'm Annie. I'm originally from Chicago, but I live in Illinois. My first paint party was actually in the winter of this year. And it was, well, actually, my first venue party was in the winter of this year. I was teaching parties maybe 6 months prior to that, and I was doing in-home parties, small groups of people and so forth. And then my first big venue party was in the winter, and I've been continuing on that trend ever since then. I'm still doing in-home parties, and then I'm also doing big venue parties. So right now I have 4 large venues that I'm doing parties for. And then I'm also doing in-home parties. But I do commission work. That's what I started with. I found hiding on a challenge just like this a couple of years ago. And then I joined PPHQ a little over 2 years ago. I kind of was a fly on the wall for that long. And I learned a ton of stuff. And I should have started a long time ago.
I know. Once you start, right? You start getting that confidence for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, we're so happy you're here. Okay, so now we're going to go to, I'm still admitting people as they're coming in. We're going to go to, let's have April. April, if you'll tell us your name, your business name, and about how many paint parties you've done.
Okay. I'm April with Paint with April. And I do in-person, online, as well as have an online painting membership for people to come paint with me virtually and have fun every month. I've been doing paint parties in one way, shape, or form, not officially out in the world of like Facebook land, as I call it, for almost 7 years, and officially out with strangers for about 5.5. I think I'm coming up on 5.5, somewhere around there. I did things a little backwards. I started with a small group, and then you had to come to me and get invited. And then I got brave and put it out there, and it just blew up.
Yeah, you're making.
So I don't even know how many paint parties I've done. I mean, it's in the thousands. Like,
wow,
probably 10,000, maybe. It's a lot.
Wow. That's
a lot.
Crazy. I know. I wish I would have kept track when I started over 15 years ago and just done tallies somewhere. But, you know, we moved so much, I probably would have lost the paper, I'm sure.
Yeah, I did like 200, 300 and something. It was like 280 something last year. I kept track of it and I posted it in PPHQ, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, you almost did a party every single day. I'm like, not exactly, because those were like on demand parties, you know, where I just deal with it, send it out, they watch it when they're ready. I wasn't always present, and I repurpose. I'm a fan of working smarter and not harder. So
yes. Oh, I love that. So April is going to be another one of the experts tonight. So thank you, April, for taking time out. And then let's have Teresa, if you would please share your name, your business name, and about how many paint parties you've taught.
So the name is easy. So my name is Teresa, and it's Teresa Silhouette Spot for all things art. I have no idea how many paint parties I have done. I would say, so I started in, I joined Paint Party Headquarters in May of 19. And I
Okay.
did my first party in August of 19, and I started doing them then. But I don't do paint parties full time. I do paint parties. It's my side job. I have a full-time
Okay.
job. Well, I have a 32-hour-a-week job because I was able to go to 32 hours from 40 hours. But so thank goodness for paint parties. But anyway, I've probably done close to 300 parties at this point.
300?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would say between in person and online. And I have hooked up with, well, it's 4 libraries now, 4 of my local libraries. And I
Yeah.
do adult and art parties at my libraries.
You're killing it at the libraries. I love
So,
that.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you
I
for
love it.
being
And I
here.
like working with the kids too. So yeah, so that's it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And in just a second, y'all are going to have time to ask them questions. I just wanted to get all their beautiful faces up here so y'all could see them. Monique, okay, tell us your name, your business, and thanks for being here, and about how many have you taught?
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. So I'm Monique, and the name of my business is Artrageous Brush and Flow. And I'm like you, Heidi, I have no idea, but I definitely have done over 1,000 paint parties. And
Oh my
that's in
gosh.
person and virtual.
Wow, that's insane.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy to think about?
Yes.
All the years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Monique too, she does a lot of really cool extra stuff too. And tell everybody your really cool announcement recently.
Yes. So I'm a teacher for a program called We Write the World through our art program. It's a mural art program, but I'll be like a teacher. And then it's Philadelphia, where my studio is located, we're like the mural capital of the world. So a lot of people come to Philadelphia to see the murals, as other historic sites that we're known for, like the Liberty Bell. But it's super exciting. And like Heidi said, I do a ton of other things.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking time. I want y'all to be thinking about questions that you want to ask them, because we're about to unleash the questions. Okay, so Julie. Okay, Julie here. Go ahead and tell your name, your business name, and about how many parties you've taught. Oh, I think you're muted. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go for it.
So I just want to say I'm so excited to be here with everybody. I'm Julie Ferris, and my paint party business name is Paint Party with Julie. Try and keep it simple. And my story is I actually started in Sacramento, where I'm from, and I worked with a franchise. So I just went and taught the paint parties, and I was pretty successful and one of the top rated artists in kind of Northern California, not to brag, but I knew I could throw a fun paint party. Well, and I started in 2015. And then in 2017, my husband and I decided to move to Montana, where we knew nobody. And so never, done much marketing, never, finding venues, not knowing what to say or how to pick on-trend paintings. I found PPHQ. And I have taught, honestly, like most of the other gals, I have lost track of how many paint parties I've taught, well over 500. But I now have an amazing business here in Montana, very well connected. I have people reaching out to me, selling out events. So I'm just so excited to share any experience, knowledge, tips, and tricks that I can with everybody.
That's awesome. And she always has cool hats on, y'all. Just saying.
Mhm.
I have the cool hat. Awesome. Okay. And then let's go ahead and go to Denise Day. She is also one of our experts. I just had her. Hold on. Let me find her again. Where'd she go? Hold on. Wait for it. Awkward silence. There she is. I found her. Okay. Okay, Denise, tell us your name, your business name, and about how many paint parties you've taught.
My name is Denise Day. My business name is Daydream Art. I've probably taught several hundred paint parties. I don't really do a lot of online, but I did during COVID. I actually did a lot of online kits and stuff that I did videos for. I actually got into this business working for a franchise part-time as soon as when I found out about the whole paint party business, because I thought, this is cool. I can do this. I know, so I'm going to go work in this franchise and learn how to do it. So I did for about 2 years, and then I went out on my own just as a hobby. And then I got my business license and joined PPHQ in like 2019.
Okay.
And so I have a regular weekly venue that I do them at. And right now I got like 4 private parties in the works. I've done restaurants, church groups. I just recently lost a business because I've lost like 2 businesses that I was in because they went out of business.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I love this group. It's so encouraging because I still work full time. I work full time as a graphic designer, marketing consultant. But I do this part-time. I would love to do it as a living, but I can only do so much working a part-time, business.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your expertise. I'm excited about asking y'all some questions and having them ask you questions too. And also Denise too, there's something about like, doesn't it take the pressure off? I mean, I know you're busy, you have a lot going on, but it definitely takes the pressure off. I'm never going to be one of those people that are like, quit your full-time gig and good luck, like always build it up.
I have been for 3 years, I have been putting everything I'm making, saving it and building up enough to eventually be able to get a business loan so I can open up a storefront.
Oh, good for you. Awesome. Very cool. Okay. So I just want to say first off, thank y'all for being here. We have 6 amazing experts that are going to be answering your questions. All of y'all that have just joined, I know sometimes joining something like this can be so scary because you're like, oh, I just did something and now I got to do other things. And so I want you to just take a deep breath, know that it is okay. And I'm going to remove me from the spotlight, and I'm actually going to have y'all ask some questions. So if you know how to do your hand raise, you can raise your hand. If you have a question for somebody specific, you can ask it to somebody specific. If not, I will say to one, I'll just kind of go round table style. I'll say, okay, Annie, answer this one, or Teresa, what are your thoughts on this one? And kind of go around the table and ask people. So here's our chance. I'm having a glass of wine. It is Friday night. So cheers to that. Have a glass of wine with me if you want, or your coffee or whatever you have to drink. But who wants to ask their first question? And don't be shy. These women are totally like, you can ask us anything. We are open books. So who wants to ask first? You can do this if you don't know how to do the raise your hand button, or you can jump up and down, or you can do the raise hand, but don't be shy. Let's see, I'm looking. Anybody got their hand raised? If not, I'm going to ask some questions because I have some great ones. Oh, Stacy, we got Stacy first. Okay. All right, Stacy, go for it. What is your question? Oh, hold on. Let's get you unmuted. Let's see. Okay, I think you have to click the little button and then we'll get you going. And then I have some questions too about some time management for y'all so y'all be thinking.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I normally know what I'm doing, but I have
no, there you go. You got it.
I have this all messed up. I messed up my whole screen and everything now, and I'm trying to take my hand down. I'll do that in a minute, okay?
No problem.
I'm so sorry. Here. Okay, lower hand.
You got it. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay, my question is, as far as once you find a venue, how many of you keep it as a repeat basis, like every month? And how successful are you at making a venue a repeat venue, I guess? And then like once a month, would you say, would that be like the best way to do that? Or should it be a little bit further apart? I'm having trouble with that. Like I go to a venue and I do one event, and then I did 2 events at one venue, and then it kind of fizzled out. And so I'm wondering, and I have a lot of first time events, but I don't know about having multiple, keep doing it every month. I guess that's my question.
Okay, so we'll start with April answering this one, and then we'll have one of our other experts answer this one for Stacy. Great question. All right, go
great
for it,
question.
April.
So here's my hot tips for securing venues because I'm completely mobile. Oh, and I work full time too. So I figured I should throw that out there because I forgot to say that. So when you go visit a venue for the first time,
hold on. You've done over 10,000 parties. I know some of them are, packaged
4 or 5
up.
parties in a day. Yeah.
But you also work full time. Okay,
Yes.
let's all just do this for a second.
I'm not as busy as I used to be. COVID really made me realize like how important my time is. And so I really work smarter and not harder. And I mean that. Like I maximize everything I do for multiple streams of revenue as much as I can. I squeeze as much lemon juice out of the lemon as I can so that I don't have to exhaust myself growing my business. So I think pretty good at venues. That's my bread and butter when I started my business. And my best advice is if you go visit a venue for the first time, sometimes they're a little nervous. So if you can bring a flip book of paintings you've done, like on a Canvas booklet, and show them examples, or pull up your page, your business page, or your group, if that's all you have, and show them photos of paintings that you offer. Okay. Walk them through it. Explain to them how it works, the way I do it, and everybody's a little different. I don't pay my venues to work there, to bring people in. I charge for the party. I advertise. I have venues that help me advertise and some that don't. I now am big enough, I don't need them, but if they help me, it's great because it fills up faster. When the painters get there, my painters know, because I've set the expectation, that I'm able to offer the pricing that I offer for my parties, because I expect you, as well as myself, to buy food and drink, a soda, a salad, an appetizer, whatever it is, to support that venue for the use of their space, because they make affordable, fun art possible. And that's exactly how I phrase it. So that tells them, okay, great. So these people will come, they'll buy food and drinks from us. I also let the venue know if it's a really good venue and it goes well, I will, if you're open to it, love to put you on my list of private party venues. So when people come to me and want to offer a private party, but they don't want to do it in their home, I will go to those venues first to secure locations for that party. So that's another hot tip, because it brings more business into them on typically slow nights. Sometimes you meet with a venue for the first time, you need to have some dates in mind, and I will book the whole entire year with them before I even have a party.
Yeah.
Because you get them while they're hot and they're excited, and then you work your tush off to fill that event and make it, even if you only have 10 people, you make it amazing. You make that their sales event of the time of day that you're there. You are fun and inviting, and people will always come up to you and ask you. So have either a QR code or your page pulled up, or business cards, to send them to where they can sign up for the next event so they don't miss out. And I always stress the importance of grabbing your tickets before they fill up and sell out. Before COVID, I would sell out an event in 5 minutes.
That's awesome.
And sometimes they would fill in my private group before I'd even put it on my page. And I'm starting to get back to that now. I have events booked all the way into May that are on my calendar and out for people to grab tickets. I always work 2 to 3 to 4 months ahead, because their demand is there. And people will buy tickets and they show up. They don't forget, because they want to get that spot before it's gone.
Well, those are great tips. And how many of us, just a show of hands, have things booked all the way through October right now? I mean, not counting paint parties. I'm just talking about events in life, like our families, a wedding or whatever. Like, we put stuff on our calendar, and if it's not on our calendar, then we can't make it happen. So those are great tips. Awesome, April. And let's have Teresa add to this one, and then we'll go to another question. Wonderful tips. And I'm actually taking notes myself. So, so for those of y'all that, are like, oh, I don't know if I should take notes, like y'all, I always come from a place of learning, no matter how much you feel like you've learned. It's always good to be reminded. So Teresa, I know you have a lot of recurring events. So tell us about how you do that.
Yeah, I have 2 places that I do monthly. And I could probably do more or get more places, but that's fine for me. I like to, you know, I don't stretch myself too thin. But yeah, I do have 2 places. And like April said, I went to them with, I have a portfolio where I have a number of paintings in it, and we flip through them, and I'm constantly changing it out for what's trending and what's seasonal. And it's good because one I do on Mondays and one I do on Wednesdays once a month. And we'll usually book out like 3 in a row. And so when I do 2 and I'm getting up to the 3rd one, we'll do the next few.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. And I love the idea of having a flip book. If you don't have a flip book, you can always just pull up the paint party headquarters stuff and actually like just grab the paintings and show them, like screenshot.
I do have albums too on
Show
my
them.
phone. Like I have adult
Yes.
and kids,
Mhm.
but I don't keep up with that as much as I should.
Oh, I know. Sometimes it's hard, but those albums can come in handy, especially when you're like me and you have 115,000 photos. It's like so many photos.
Yes, I have it. So in my albums on my page, I have kid designs and adult designs.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. And the thing too, I want y'all to remember is, it is like when you start to work with somebody with a paint party, you know, with a venue, and just show kindness. I'm telling you, that person will go out of their way above and beyond, you know, just the party I was doing on Wednesday. So years ago, and the owner used to let me actually put out a huge banner outside of their place. And I did paint parties there like every couple of months for several years. And then, you know, they just kind of started to, you know, how sometimes a restaurant will kind of hit its max and then you got to revive it. Right. Well, so when I went to do the party here, I rented the room because I wanted to like make sure we had a private space. Well, just me being kind to them and talking to them, they took off half the room rate. Then I said, hey, can I come back and do parties here on a slow night? And people buy the food and drink like I used to, you know, back in the heyday, right? Like, you know, several years ago when I was here. And she's like, oh yeah, sure. Give me a date. And I messaged her, you know, Thursday morning, we got a date, you know, already, you know, and she's going to help advertise it. And she's not charging me anything. And I'm telling you, like, just being kind and talking to somebody in the moment, you can book like that. So she's ready for me to come back whenever I want and help advertise. So it's really cool. Okay. So, what is the next question? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're not sure how to do the raise hand. And then I'm going to pick one of our experts to
I just wanted to say thank you for the answers. Thank you, Heidi, and thank you, ladies, for your answers.
Yes, Teresa and April, thank y'all so much. Okay, who else has a question? And then we'll go to one of our experts for an answer. And if not, I have many questions. I love asking people who are doing successful things questions all the time. Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to ask a question. I'm going to bring this one over to Monique first. Okay. So how do you manage your time with such a busy business? Okay. So let's see if we can have you answer that. And then I'll probably ask one more of y'all that question as well, because I know it's a good one. Time management is so hard.
Yes, it is. And that's a great question, Heidi. I just was telling my accountability group, they didn't know I actually ran a daycare for 13 years, full-time through ART. It was called Outrageous Kids Childcare. And I didn't even get to share with you, August, I shut it down and because of paint party headquarters. So I'm doing paint parties and all things art full-time.
Congrats, that's big.
Thank you. They was like, how are you doing all these businesses at one time? And I said, time management and balance as well. Family is super important to me. I'm a family gal, and just trying to be, I'm not the most organized person. I think because my thoughts and being creative, I'm all over the place at times, but really trying to stay as organized as possible, like using my cell phone, putting everything in the computer, and even blocking out time for myself, saying, okay, certain days I'm not doing any paint parties, even if I just want to paint for myself. So just really trying to plan, and also having somebody that's holding me accountable. If I say I'm going to do something, for them to check up on me and say, hey, you said you were going, going to do that. And we're all human. Of course, sometimes I may miss something and have to do it at the last minute, but I'm always able to pull through, and no one ever knows, like, yep, I was procrastinating. So yeah, I would say really, or trying to be as organized as possible, keeping good notes and things like that are really useful. And technology is awesome. Sending those reminders to you, like, hey, you have a party, on this date, to keep everything organized.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. I didn't know that about your daycare.
Yes, thank you.
Wow, very exciting. Very cool. Okay, so let's have Julie. I know you are doing a lot, because Julie is a part of the Paint Party Headquarters team. So she helps us a whole lot. And if you've been in Paint Party Headquarters, she stepped in a lot of times. If, I've had to have last minute things, especially this past month, she has been amazing with that. So thank you. I know that's put your schedule got upside down as much as my schedule did. So thank you. So what are your tips for managing it? Because I know you got a full plate, girl.
Well, first off, I love what I do, and even helping as part of the PPHQ team, I have a heart to serve. So I love what I do. So it's not, necessarily 9 to 5 and some evenings and weekends, but I love what I do. And I was actually going to grab it real quick. I'm a girl that writes things down. So I have a little daytime planner, and I have a dry erase calendar. And as soon as somebody messages me for a party, as soon as I know I have to, paint a demo for an upcoming party or any of those things, I write it down, because I'm a visual person. If I don't see it, it doesn't happen. And then also blocking your time. I think that that's very important. So let's say you dread returning emails. Tackle that first, do kind of whatever is the least fun, thing first, and then maybe painting your next, paint party, original painting. You could do that in the afternoon as the reward. And also make sure, I know it's so hard, but have boundaries. When you need to take time, make whatever, your family, I hope, is your priority. But if you have those priorities, make sure you hold true to those, because it's very easy to feel burnt out and overwhelmed. And if you have those boundaries, so to me, that's one thing that's very important. I love to say yes, but if I can't, I will say no, and give yourself grace and space to have those boundaries, and to say yes and take any great opportunities that come your way, but also it's okay to say no. So I think I think time blocking for me is real important. And like I said, my art time for me is my reward. So I'll do all the work chores that I don't really like starting off, and then my reward can be painting or doing the things that are the funnest for me. So I think those would be a couple of mine. And then also, as soon as somebody messages you for a party, as soon as somebody sends you a question, it doesn't mean you have to get back to them right away. We do want to have good customer service, but I have to write it down, because if not, it'll go in one ear and out the other. So writing things down is important for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. And everybody has a different system. So my team has tried to get me on a electronic system, and I still have that paper calendar no matter what. I have to have that paper calendar. Like when I go on trips, I take pictures of it for several months. If I forget, I'm like, Bobby, can you please take pictures of my calendar? I'm trying to book something, and he's taking pictures and sending it to me. But there is something, like, I've tried so hard to get away from that paper calendar. But another thing too is alarms. Like this phone will just alarm all day. If I'm so, like, for this meeting, it alarmed and said, don't forget, be there for the meeting. And then I know I can just, we're not like constantly freaking out. So that's awesome. Thank you, Julie, for sharing that. Okay, so we have a question here, and I'm going to bring it to one of our experts. Annie. Okay, Annie, I'm going to bring you to this question. Alexis asked, what makes your particular paint parties unique, or what keeps your guests interested? So let's go to, let me find Annie in here. That's a great question. Hold on, I can find her. I promise. I can do this. I can do, there she is. Thank you, Annie, for waving. Okay. All right. So again, what makes your particular paint parties unique, or what keeps your guests interested?
Okay, that is a great question, by the way. I like to create a atmosphere, or like, I don't know how to say it, like a feeling or something in regards to the party. So for instance, last night I had a party, we painted a vintage bike, and I actually got a vintage bike, like a 60-year-old bike.
Really?
And I brought it to the event, and my hubby helped me carry it in. And it was like all intact, like unbelievably, it looked awesome, almost like the painting we were painting, except a different color. And I got a basket for the back, and I put the same kind of flowers that I got from the dollar store in those little foam things that you stick in the back. I put those flowers in the back, like the hydrangeas that we were painting. And I used it as a backdrop for our photos. So I hung my business name off the handlebars. And then as everyone was walking in, I was like, how are they going to receive this one? How are they going to receive this? They were like, oh my gosh, look at the bike. It's almost like the bike we're painting. And then, they were walking up, and I'm like, hi guys. I'm like, oh, you like the bike? Yeah. Where did you find that bike? And so it was like the big talk of the party. And they were so excited to take pictures afterwards because they had it. Now, you don't have to go to that extreme. You don't have to get a vintage bike, even though I'm off the wall sometimes with things like that. But you can find something that has to relate to your party as like a backdrop or something for them to take pictures. So if you're painting a bunny, I'm already thinking about the bunny that I'm painting, and I was going to rent a guy that was going to come around.
That would be awesome.
For $25 or $50, they do like an hour or something, but I was going to approach the venue first. So you can do cool, creative things like that. You can have spring flowers on your table, the flowers that you're painting. You can put, different types of arrangements on your table, anything that has to do with what you're painting, have that as a backdrop for your photos. And I know everyone's going to say this, but I love door prizes, and I will have door prizes that are geared towards that also. So for instance, last night I had these really cool vintage napkins, and they had bikes on there. So like if you're painting lavender, get a lavender candle, or, stuff. I'm always thinking of creative ways to express myself and to make them feel like it's like an experience, as opposed to just going, go to an average paint party. I want to feel like I'm in Paris if I'm painting the Eiffel Tower. So if you're in Paris, bring scarves for them to wear, or, cute stuff like that. So, great. It's working for me right now, and all of my people are loving it. And my regulars are like, what's she going to do next? So I'm like, now I've created this persona.
What's she doing next? Oh my gosh, Annie, I'm frantically taking notes because so the people I painted with on Wednesday, they have painted with me multiple times. One of the ladies have painted with me over 30 times. And she said, like, the girl who decorated the center was our waitress. And she was just like, this is so cool, because I've never done that before. I'm not a decorator. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have just a section for here's when I do bunny parties, here's when I do Christmas parties, and then I just grab it out, and then you can spruce everything up. So that is awesome, Annie. I think that's a great idea. Thanks for sharing. Very cool. Okay, so let's go to, so Jody's question is, she says, hi everyone, very new here. And I'm going to ask Denise Day to answer this one. And the question is, nervous in getting started. Any tips to help with the butterflies? So Denise, what are your tips for new people who got those butterflies? They're nervous, they're freaking out. What would you tell them?
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
I actually have changed over years. I used to be an introvert. I was scared to death to talk in front of people. I wouldn't approach people, and doing these paint parties has really gotten me out of that. I've always been self-conscious of my Southern accent.
I love your accent.
I know, I'm from South Carolina, and people always, are you from Texas? Or,
we don't have accents in Texas. What are you talking about?
But I tell them I live in the South. I talk the way I'm supposed to.
Mhm.
But really, you just talk to people like you're talking to your best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get around people, you just ask them questions and get to know them, and that will help get you over the nervousness. I still sometimes I get nervous if I have a huge party. But I don't now as much as I used to. I used to get really nervous, and so then I'd talk super fast. So sometimes you just have to kind of take a breath and slow down. Just get to know your clients, the people that you're teaching to, because if you get more involved with them and get them engaged, and even engaged with each other, then that makes you feel less pressured to do all the entertainment. You get them talking with each other, get a conversation that they can all join in. Then you're not pressured to feel like you're the one standing up presenting everything. Everybody gets engaged.
Yeah, I love that. And I think too, ask people questions that make them want to talk about something exciting. So used to when I first started, I'd be like, well, how's your week going? And then of course, everybody just defaults to the bad things. It's like we're all like wired, a lot of people are just wired of, oh, well, this happened or this happened. But if you go, what's something new or exciting going on in your life, then everybody's talking about, their trip they're going on or their new grandkid or, whatever's going on. So, and I think you're so right, Denise, like having them talk to where we're not the star of the show. We're just there facilitating it. I love that. And y'all probably saw me on Wednesday. My job wasn't to sit there and be the star of the show. My job was to let them talk, have fun, connect. That's the part. I mean, I barely painted. You saw me. If I was painting, I was usually painting on somebody else's painting. So great. Yeah.
And related to Annie about doing the experience, I love what you said. I took notes on some of that for the props and stuff.
Yes.
But whatever the theme of the painting that I'm doing, sometime I'll relate that to a question to get them engaged. Say we're painting, the other night we were painting these flower box signs, the abstract flower box signs. So I was asking them what kind of flowers they have in their yard and stuff like that, and other things related to whatever the painting is.
Right. Yeah. And we also always have great music. Thank you, Denise, for that answer. That's awesome. We also have a playlist that you can download. It's on Spotify, and it's like the top paint party songs, like to just keep the upbeat music. So you don't have to like try to think of songs. I remember I love Pink. Oh my gosh, I love Pink. But I like some mellow music. I like Chris Stapleton and stuff like that. And one time at a paint party, there was like 50 people there, and I was playing my Misunderstood album from Pink, which is pretty like mellow and deep. Oh my gosh. And one of the ladies was like, what is this depressing music? And I was like, oh, maybe not everybody's into it like I am. And so I started realizing like, you got to have some upbeat party music, make it a whole experience. Okay. So, of our experts, again, we have Annie, Monique, Teresa, Denise, Julie, and April. Whichever one of y'all. Oh, go for it.
I was going to say the other thing that I do for my parties, if people are wanting certain music, I actually have a separate cell phone and I let them DJ, and they love it. Like I'll have, my separate, I have Apple Music because it's a tax write-off that I'm paying for Apple Music. So they'll pass, the phone, and they absolutely love it. And the same thing like Annie said, I'm actually an art Airbnb experience. So I want my guests to come in and feel like they come in as a stranger, they're leaving as a friend. So I think the person mentioned the butterflies. I want you to be my friend. So it's like, I don't overkill with it, but I'm going to be so nice and so excited to see you. You're going to want to come back. And I think that takes like the butterflies and the nervousness away, because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to meet this new stranger that's going to be my friend. It's like a surprise party for me every time. It's surprise and I want to make everyone my friend. And it's not fake, but it's just like how I know I want to feel when I would go to an event. Like when I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like a kindred sister. You were so
Yes.
welcome, you know, and I had never met you a day in my life. And I just felt so welcome. So
Yeah.
just people how you want to be treated, like you say, kindness.
Oh, I love that. And we bonded because you had such awesome boots. And so immediately I was like, this girl knows how to pick some boots out. So I immediately was like, we connected. That is awesome. I wrote that down. Come in as a stranger and leave as a friend and let
Yes.
them DJ. Oh,
Mhm.
that is such a good tip. I don't know why I have never thought of that, Monique. That is great. I'm going to start doing that.
Yes.
Very cool. Julie, do you want to add to that? I see your hand up.
I do, just real quick. Like I said, I'm big on self-talk and how, you know, the words that we say to ourselves. And I want to challenge you, instead of being nervous, tell yourself you're excited. It's that same sensation. And so instead of I'm nervous about contacting that venue, I'm nervous about hosting my first paint party, I'm nervous, I'm excited. So just by changing that one little word when you talk to yourself, you'll notice that the nervousness will go away, and you'll just be so excited. And if you are nervous, my challenge you is teach one. You'll get hooked. You'll get addicted. I promise you.
Yes, I love that. So anybody, I mean, like she said, it has been proven, like I don't know that word. What is that word, Julie? Physiologically? Something to do with our chemistry of our body. The anxious energy and the excitement is the same thing. It's just the way you change it. But I don't know how to say that word.
Me either.
Okay, good. Okay, anybody know how to say that word? You can, impress us, because I don't know how to say it. Okay. Okay. So I have this question. For any of the experts that want to answer this one. Barbara says, I'm not very mobile, unable to do paint parties, but she wants to get started doing online. What if you don't have a following? Okay, so Barbara has that question. Which one of you experts want to answer that one? Teresa, you want to answer that one? Go for it.
No one has a following when they get started.
Amen
I didn't
to
have a
that.
following when I got started. But everyone has to start somewhere, and you have to be patient and consistent. And paint online and do Facebook Lives. Take a lot of pictures, a lot of pictures of the steps in all your project. Take pictures of your supplies, take pictures of your trace, take pictures of your finished product. And if you're nervous about doing a Facebook Live, as soon as you do one, even like being nervous at parties, as soon as you do one Facebook Live, you'll feel much better, and you'll be excited next time you do a Facebook Live. And when I first was doing Facebook Lives, I got nervous, but then I just acted like I was talking to a friend. Like I would pretend that somebody I know is up there, and I was just painting and being like, okay, so what's new, and the weather, and I love this color, and blah, blah, blah. And now I can hop on and do a live, no problem. But we all start somewhere, and none of us had a following, and you build it through being consistent and patient, and with a lot of pictures of your art. So yeah. We're all here. We're very passionate about painting and our art, and we all have totally different styles, but we all have that creative passion inside of us. And when we're painting, whether it's online or in person, it just comes out. You can't help it.
Right. I love that. Yeah. And that kind of, Teresa, that kind of answers the next question, which is from Desiree was saying, what is the best way to start putting together a paint party for a stay-at-home mom caregiver? And she also teaches her kids at home through online schooling. Should I start with a children's event with all the online kids in the area, which I think is a perfect start, don't you?
I actually teach a group of homeschoolers once a month.
Do you?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I love it. So she has the perfect opportunity there to do that. And you could even offer, like the first one, use them as your guinea pig. Yeah. Who wants to paint with me? I'm just getting my feet wet. I want to do a practice one. just to get started. And then maybe you have something there.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'm sorry, I'm staying with you, Teresa, for this other one, because I know you're the library girl. you do so many libraries. This one is from Laura. She says, are you allowed to charge money when you do a party at a library? Are there any other situations where you wouldn't be able to charge? So I know you have a very great thing with your library.
I do. So my very, very local library is unique. They have a huge budget for children and adult classes, and there's probably 3 events every day for children and adults in my library. Like if you went into Center Merchants Public Library and looked at the calendar, it's chock full of events. So it's unique like that, in that they have the budget, and they pay me to provide the paint party and the supplies and come in and teach the class. There are others. There's another library that I work with that charges a small fee to their patrons to come. And it covers part of me. So it really depends on your library director, and what's in their budget, and how a lot of times the smaller towns have more available for their patrons and their community, but it really depends on your library and how it's run.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Teresa. Very cool.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Okay. I know we're here. Most of us have been in Paint Party headquarters for like a few years. I know I've been in 19. I think Annie said she started in 19 as well, or Denise started in 19. I don't remember. But like, we all know each other. We are all friends. This community, this Paint Party headquarters community, is so supportive and so helpful to each other. And it's such a positive space to be in. I have made so many friends that are right here that I, talk to, or we support each other on their pages, and friends that aren't here right now, but that I've made and I talk to and support each other on their pages, all through Paint Party headquarters. I have an accountability group with Paint Party headquarters, with a group of women that we Zoom every other Wednesday morning, talk about what we have going on, help each other, vent a little bit, whatever it is. So this community, like, we all know each other and we try and support each other, and it's all really positive.
Oh, thank you for saying that. And you buy me root beer, so I really appreciate it.
And yeah, I told my, so we were having dinner before. I said, okay, I have my Zoom at 8 with root beer.
I know. I was like, I'm going to wine. I'm not doing my root beer tonight. But yeah, oh my gosh, we were at a conference and I was like, I can't find root beer anywhere. And the next thing you know, Teresa's got me a whole 2-liter bottle of root beer. I was like drinking it like this. I didn't have a cup. I was drinking it out of the bottle. Yeah.
And now you'll forever be known in my home as root beer.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's so true. Thank you, Teresa. I think what I want y'all to have most out of this, I know we talk a lot about paint parties. I mean, that's the truth. The big bulk of this is paint parties. But again, when it comes down to it, it is more than paint parties. I mean, I cannot tell you, just friendships and sharing kindness and the love of art, like that alone is what gets me up every morning. Like, I mean, I can answer your questions about which paint brushes to buy for, until my face falls off. And I will do that, but I feel like my calling is to help you not only change your financial future, because it totally can and does. But also, like, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm telling you, like, when you meet somebody and it just changes the way you get up in the morning and you show up, because you're going to meet your friends on a Zoom every other Wednesday, and you better have something that you've done, because you have an accountability partner, or at least, like, it kind of gives you some, not competition, but just the feeling of like you're in it together. And so I hope and pray so much that regardless if you ever teach one paint party or 3,000 paint parties, that you feel God's love in this group. Like, that is my mission. That is my passion. And I so want that to happen for you. Okay, so I'm going to ask April this question. So April, the question comes to you. And this one is, hold on one second. I lost. Oh, does anyone ever bring food or drinks to their own party? So this will be a good one for you because I know you have a lot of parties you've done. So what's your answer?
So I have one venue that I work with during the season that they're open. They close during winter because they're a farm and they have a great space for events. And so they just opened back up in March and she doesn't have a restaurant or food. So I toyed with that idea of bringing like I always say it wrong, a charcuterie board or whatever those fancy boards are.
Oh my gosh, those
goodies.
charcuterie. Is it charcuterie?
Meat and cheese.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
a
It's meat and
Lunchable.
cheese.
It's
It's
really a
meat, cheese,
Lunchable.
veggies, goodies, it's all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So I toyed around and bounced it off my husband. I'm like, maybe I should get a couple of those and bring them and just up the ticket price. And he goes, no, don't make more work for yourself. He's like, do what you've done. So what I've done in the past is I put in there, this venue does not have a restaurant. So please bring, they have a liquor license. So you can, and I'm actually liquor certified to serve, so I can monitor consumption, if I want to take that on, but
Oh, I would
so
hate to
they're
take that
okay
on.
with alcoholic beverages within reason. So I kind of police it. It's not been an issue with my painters. They're not wild people by any means. I have a very tame group. So they bring their own lunch. I usually do it at 1:00. And so they bring their own lunch or snacks. And I put in the thing and on their ticket when they get the receipt that says, feel free to bring your own beverages and snacks to this. And I just opted for keeping it simple because when you do this so much, and especially when you work full time, I have 2 college kids at home and 2 dogs that are a year and a half now. You never know what chaos. My husband creates chaos for me more than anybody. You never know what chaos is going to come your way. And so I thought, you know what? No, I'm just going to keep it simple. Like that is my motto. I don't do door prizes. I don't do music because my venues all have music. So I just tell them what I want to have play in the jukebox or on the stereo system, and they run through it. And if someone requests something, we switch it,
Right.
So I am like the queen of simple, and I have a really high repeat customer base. So don't think you have to do fancy to keep your customers, because you don't. My average return rate is over 60%. I have people who paint with me every single month. And now that because I'm in Oregon, so now that we're open again and things are like back to somewhat normal, they paint with me sometimes 2-3 times a month.
Yeah.
That's not unheard of. And I'm not in a big town. My town, I think my city is like 4,000-ish now. We just had a bunch of homes built. So, I mean, we're under 5,000 easily. So it's what you make it.
Mm-hmm. I love that, April. And it really is about, I'm sure they're coming back because you're making them feel welcome,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
I'm
make
sure you're not
everybody
slapping their
feel
hand.
welcome.
I'm sure you're not slapping their hand for getting an extra little quarter thing of paint.
Nope. I
That drives
encourage
me
everybody to be
nuts.
creative and make their painting them their own. And now I've been doing this so long, I give them ideas. A lot of my painters will look on for inspiration. Like if we're painting something with flowers, they'll pull up pictures on Pinterest and they have them saved on their phone. And they'll be like, oh, I want to kind of do this. And I'll walk them through, okay, well, this is how I would attack that. And I like to give a lot of personal attention. And my motto, and sometimes my parties can go a little bit longer than I want, 2 hours is about my average, but I do have some paintings I do that are more in depth, because as I've grown my business, my painters have grown with me.
Yeah.
And so I don't do a ton of simple parties. I do a lot more extravagant, real nice versions. It's still fun art, but it's nicer than when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I've grown with them. And now I have a new group of people that, as my business grows, I have newbies that come. And so I sketch everything always. I used to draw with chalk and show them how to draw it when I first started. And they were just talking about that at my last party. Like, oh my gosh, you remember when you used to do the background and you'd give us a piece of chalk and you'd walk us through how to draw? None of us thought we could draw, but we did. And it looked good. They're like, this is so much more carefree. And then they can visit more and have fun. So now it's really a social outing with a splash of art and beautiful stuff you can gift or show. And, every once in a while you have that person that's just, you're not their cup of tea. It still happens to me. I don't take it personal, but I make sure that everybody leaves as happy as I can make them.
Yeah.
And they know that I'll give them that personal attention at the end if they need help.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and not being offended if you're not everybody's cup of tea.
Nope.
That's okay. Very cool. Thank you, April. Okay, Annie, I see you're wanting to add to that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just if it's like the same thing as what she had asked, but one of my venues doesn't serve food. So then, I was feeling obligated to kind of bring something or have cheese and, meat or whatever there. But what they did is they created an establishment with the restaurants around them, and they created QR codes for all the restaurants. And what they do is the restaurants will deliver to the venue. And so if they want
cool.
food, they'll scan their QR code, and restaurants love this, because if you're having, 30 people for a paint party and they're drinking and they want to eat some hot wings down the street, then they're going to deliver, So they have a whole 10 restaurants, I think it is, and they'll deliver to the venue. So that's just an idea to bring up to maybe venues that don't serve food. And they do sell like chips and stuff like that, but I always take food out of the equation. It is like an added thing. You don't know if someone's allergic to peanuts. It's kind of, for me, I don't know. I don't do that. But, if someone's in their own home and I do home parties, they can eat whatever they want. But the QR code thing is really, it's cool. The venue, it's going well. So
that's a great idea, Annie. Thank you for sharing that. And also I'm kind of like that too. Like, for the party I just did, and those were repeat customers that had been to my parties for years, and I wanted to spoil them rotten. Like, I was like, drinks are on me, food's on me, you're about to be filmed for several people. Like, I just want to spoil them rotten, but that is not the norm. So the party I'm going to have there next month, they are going to know that you need to buy your own food and own drinks, because what happens when you do end up bringing that stuff in, because you have purchased it, they think that they don't have to tip. And so just the tip, like once you add the tip, all of a sudden you're like, I didn't make nothing. And I want y'all to remember to make a profit every party. So it just all depends. And then also make sure that you are able to pivot, and also always be thinking about being a problem solver, because we can sit there all day long and go, this won't work, this way won't work. But why not go, okay, let's just ask the question differently and let's problem solve, because there are 2,000 plus people in Paint Party headquarters, and not everybody likes to teach a paint party the way I did on Wednesday night. Some people, that would freak them out, thinking she just got paint in a bag and she's just gonna grab it. Oh my gosh, like that would freak them out, where I'm like, let's just dig in here, Megan. What color are you looking for? Like, I don't care. Like, that's my personality. So I want you to remember, we all do it a little bit differently. Take what you like, take what you don't like. And then we're going to have Julie answer this question. It says, Indulgent Art, she asked, have you ever had an experience where a guest didn't like their art, and how did you handle this?
Well, when you teach as many paint parties as some of us have, yes, eventually you'll have somebody. And as I'm walking around the room, I kind of gauge people's faces. And if they're feeling frustrated or defeated, I'm not going to go, you're doing that wrong, but I might go, how we doing over here? And kind of love on that side of the table a little more. And if somebody just is frustrated, and I actually had this happen last night, I was teaching an art class, and I don't like it. It's ugly. So what I tell them is, I said, okay, I can't get in your head. So can you explain to me what part of your painting you don't like? Because I can fix it for you, but I may start doing something different, and you may go, oh, that was my favorite part of the painting. So if you can articulate to me what you don't like about your painting, I can fix it. One of my really bad jokes, and I have a ton of them, is I say, if your painting goes a little crappy, I can bring it back to happy. And so it kind of takes the stress off of that person, and I'll tell them, don't worry, you're in great hands. I'm a great teacher. So then that takes the stress of having the painting look great off of them. And then I'm like, don't worry, I'm a great teacher. I can fix it for you. But have them articulate what they don't like about their painting. And then also what I love to do is always ask before you do anything on their canvas. 99 out of 100 people hand me their canvas and just say, fix it. Yeah. There's that one person out of 100 that they want to do it themselves. And I'm more than happy to teach both, personality types, but that's one thing that I have found that's important is see if they can articulate what they don't like about it. So you know exactly what to help them with and how to help them with that. And then if you are comfortable working on their painting for them, always ask before that, because they may want to do it themselves and you could just do a real quick demonstration, even right there on the tablecloth or on an extra paper plate. So those are two things that I would kind of encourage you. And this is a brave move. And I don't know if I would recommend this all the time, but I had she was a person with a big group of people and they were having a good time. And I asked first, but I held up her painting, and this was a room of 40 plus people. And I said, hey guys, this artist doesn't like their painting, but I think it looks amazing. What do you think? And the whole room erupted and just like, oh, it's great. And then I leaned over and I go, you're outvoted. So it's most of the time, like I said, that's a bold move, I know. But it's them in their head. And even if you can, sometimes if I have like, date night, I'll even joke with the husband. I'm like, why is her painting so much better than yours? Just, you have to learn how to read the crowd. But most people, either they've never painted or it's been a while and they're self-conscious with how their painting's going to look. And so, like I said, I have all those great kind of jokes about, taking the stress off of them, and I'm a great teacher, you're in good hands. So I think that that's really important, just to let them know that it's okay. You're here to have fun. Don't stress over the details. And at the end of the night, it's a painting that's a souvenir of an awesome, fun night. And I joke, I'm like, if you can find a gallery where you can sell it for millions of dollars, tell me where it is, because I have art that I need to sell too. But at the end of the day, just let them know they're there to have fun. If there's something that's in that painting that they're not happy with, try and have them articulate it instead of, I don't like the whole thing. Well, here's mine, but I find that sometimes just those little things make a big difference. And then one of my other real cheesy jokes, I go, if the painting looks great, you get all the credit. If it looks bad, just tell them the teacher wasn't very good. And of course they laugh. So I need to write all my little Julie-isms down, but just make light of it, but see if they can pinpoint what they don't like. Maybe it's their shading. Maybe they've put way too much paint on, and it's just a simple matter of let it dry for 5 minutes, go get a refill on your drink, come back and we'll work on it together. So I think those are kind of the things that I've kind of approached those defeated painters, because at the end of the night, you want them to go home having fun.
Yes, I love your Julie-isms. They're awesome. Yeah, one of mine is always like, ugly paintings are bad for business. So if you're struggling, please let me come by and help you if you need help.
I've stolen that line and used it in my paint parties.
Yes, it works, because you want people to be happy. And I think it also is about changing the mindset. So if you're going to want repeat customers, if the best and greatest scenario is having a restaurant that works really well with you and understands what we're doing. And then, having customers who realize that this is an experience. It's not necessarily, I'm going here to paint this barn and it's going to be placed directly in the hallway of my home. Like, that's not what it's about. I mean, yeah, that's great if that barn can be like a showpiece in our home, but really it's not about that at all. And so you want people that are just repeat customers going to your parties over and over again with the feeling of like, we're just coming to have fun. We're coming to create. And that's why you have people that have come 30, 40 times to your parties, because of the way you make them feel and the experience you're giving them. Just like we go to the movies multiple times, we go do things the same way, multiple times. So awesome answer, Julie. I love that. Okay. So we have a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap up. So let's have Monique answer this one. So Monique, you are up. This one I think is going to be a great one for you. She asked, and this is from Natasha. I hope I'm saying that right. She asked, as a newbie, if you get into a school or daycare, how would you charge for the paint party?
Oh, that's a great question. So for schools, I actually charge depending on the size of the canvas. And in the beginning of my paint party career, I thought schools didn't have money. I'm like, they're not going to pay, they're already struggling, but they pay. Schools have money. So I charge just like a paint party for an adult. I charge by the head. for all my paint parties. I go to a daycare every 2 weeks. And with my daycares, I actually bring literacy in. So I bring some kind of art book to get the kids settled in. And they love it. The kids they're looking forward to whatever book. And I have that relate to the painting. Like last week I did, is it The Dot? And that's all the kids painted was a big circle. Like super easy, painted the circle and they're holding up their paintings and the teacher takes a picture. So I charge just like any other paint party. I actually charge just littler people prices because they're doing, I use 8x10s for my kids' parties and every now and then a 5x7, depending on what the project, how long. If I'm doing like mixed media, I'll go down a little bit smaller.
Yes, that's great. And I think too, like a lot of times you can contact the PTA or the PTO and they'll have funds for you. There's multiple ways that you can get access and you can, throw it into a fundraiser as well. And that's another way. So awesome, Monique. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay. So the next question, Bonnie, are we only on Facebook? No, actually, y'all, we have an app. We have a website and everything is on here, beautifully done with all the modules that you can grab. This is an app called Kajabi. So if when you first signed up for Paint Party Headquarters, and it's also in the welcome. So a lot of people think that everything is only on Facebook. That's one of the biggest things people start to learn about me is that you don't want to put all your eggs just in Facebook. You want to gather emails through your door prizes, all of that. As well as, if you do, a lot of people start to learn paint parties, then they want to start a membership, kind of like what I have here with y'all. And so this is through Kajabi. So if you ever lose it, you can always go to my website, texasartandsoul.com, scroll to the bottom, and you can actually log in and get access to all the trainings. So we actually put everything inside, everything we put on Facebook, besides all the chatter, all the talk, and everything, all the trainings are put in there and all the paintings, all the marketing materials are in the website, as well as we send them the first 3 Mondays of the month. And the last week of the month is called Creative Week. Everybody needs a chance to just exhale and breathe. Nothing new is coming to you. Okay, so I think we have one more question. Let's see. Let me double check. Okay, hold on. We have okay, is everybody okay to stay a few more minutes? Is everybody good? Okay, if you have to hop off, I totally get it. Okay, so Julie asked, I have one venue that has their kitchen closed when I'm there. I will sometimes buy the big assorted mix of single serve bags and chips and pretzels and offer them. Oh, that's a good idea, Julie. And then we have, let's see, okay, so Catherine says, really nervous about doing an in-person party and asking a venue. Okay, so these are the last 2 questions. So Catherine, she's asking, really nervous about doing an in-person party and asking a venue. Let's let Denise take this one. Denise, do you want to share, let's see, what you would say to Catherine and anybody else who is really nervous about doing an in-person party and asking a venue to do that?
Well, Heidi has a great script in one of your trainings, and I have actually used that a lot of times. Yeah, I've just altered it for myself and for the venue. And a lot of times, a lot of venues, instead of me going and just calling them up saying, hey, you want to do a paint party, I'll just go to that venue. Like I went to an ice cream parlor and I sat down and was eating ice cream, and then I asked to speak to the owner there, and I was like, this is such a cute little place. Have you ever thought about doing a paint party here? And I've actually gotten a lot of venues just by going in there and asking to speak to the owner there. Of course, sometimes they're busy and they don't want to talk to you, and they'll give you your their contact information, their email. But it's just like asking anybody else. I mean, the worst they can do is say no. I mean, and so what? There's a million more out there, and it's not personal if they do. So and I've even had my husband ask for me, and I'm like, don't do that. I want to do it myself. I'm like, you embarrass me when you do it. It's like I can't do it on my own. So I said, you don't do that for me. So he's like, well, you better do it first because I'm going to if you don't. But that's what else was I answering? I don't even know. It's late.
That's good. I mean, it can be nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is like you said, Denise, is don't take it personal. You know, I used to think like, you know, for every 10 people I ask, one person is going to say yes. So I got to start getting a thick skin and realizing that probably nine people are going to say no before I get a yes. And so then it just becomes a numbers game. Okay. So once you turn it into a numbers game, okay, let me get out there and ask 10 people. I'm going to have one say yes. And usually it's way sooner than that. So yeah. And then also if you're really nervous, just do a party with a couple of friends and family members just to get the nerves out. That's the best thing too. But I love how you go to the place. That is so fun because then you're kind of scouting it out to see, first off, do they even have room to host a paint party, you know?
And like I've had one of the venues I really loved, and it just went out of business, which I hate, but they had a really niche tavern, and it catered to people that was into a dungeon. They actually played Dungeons and Dragons in a store next door.
Wow.
And they had all this medieval decorations and did dragons and fairies. So all my paintings related to that kind of, you know, gnomes and fairies and dragons and the people that came there. So that was really fun. But I mean, every place is so different. So a lot of times you can relate the paintings that you have or the designs that you have to get them interested. Like the ice cream store, when I went there, I said, I have this cute little snowman that would go so cute with your ice cream store, and the ice cream door hanger from Diverse, you know, that we could do there.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. And always, go for it.
Oh, no, I was going to say to add, like Denise said, I actually suffered from anxiety. You would not believe that, but many years ago, but you have such an amazing script before even, meeting you, and you had us to do it, Paint Party live. I never contacted the venue. I just was so blessed to have my phone ringing off the hook. Cause churches were my biggest audience. Once you get one church and you're good, that first lady is going to tell that first lady, and that first, I was doing couples ministry, you name it, the children's ministry. I just was like, oh my gosh. But you had such an amazing script, and you challenged us to, you know, send a message. So if you're nervous about going in person, send those scripts. And when I was in Texas, literally 5 minutes later, the restaurant was like, yes. So when I got back to Philly, I met with them and did the party. So if you're nervous about saying something in person, I would highly say use Heidi's script. It works. It works. I have begun to use it, you know, to say, if it's a certain company I want to work with, I'm going to send a script out. And most of the time they're saying yes. And if they tell me no, they give me a reason and say, hey, you know, can you check back in a few months? So I'm like, that's still positive. That's still positive.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know, I remember because I challenged y'all all at Paint Party Business Live, and it was so cool because like, you were like, I got one. And somebody else like, I just got one. I'm like, this is amazing. Like I'm telling y'all, people, it works if you just do it. So very, very cool. Yeah. So if you are nervous, you know, like Monique is saying, just do the script. And again, make sure your personal and your business page looks like that you are a painter, that you like art, and not everything is crock-pot recipes. Okay. So that's very, very good tip. Okay. Awesome. We have one last question. This one is from Rebecca Jones. She asked, does anyone use any other paint besides acrylic? I was thinking of using watercolors for the littler kids since it's more washable. I actually have an answer to this, but which one of you experts have an answer to this? And you can unmute if you've done a kids party with watercolor or something.
I actually had accidentally direct messaged her instead of everyone, Heidi. So I told her I use watercolor because I do paint with a lot of children, and I also use it a water-based temper paint, because of course most daycares have carpet, and you do want to be very cautious when you're going into people's venues. I always let them know, I'm responsible if I know right away. And I do have a disclaimer out there, like if a person goes to the bathroom, and gets paint, I'm not responsible for that. But as far as when I go to children's events, I'm always using washable paint or watercolor. I even use border-based markers and let them spray water, and they love that. A spray bottle, oh my gosh, you would think you just gave them a pony. Like those different things, they work, and you'll get invited back because people don't like permanent markers and things all on the children, or just paint that is not going to wash off their furniture either.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I've been using acrylic paint with kids for so long. We've gotten paint everywhere. I should have done that, Monique. That's awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to have each one of our, so first off, let's, just give a round of applause for all of the experts coming here. And then also a round of applause for all of our new PPHQ members. I know, y'all are nervous and possibly like, you're nervitis, you're excited, and you're nervous all in one. But before you go tonight, I just want to take a minute to have each one of our experts just give like one final tip. Maybe it's something that you're like, they got to know this. Like before I get off this call, this is something that they must know. Okay. So let's go ahead. And I know I'm giving the experts, actually, I'm kind of like giving them experts time to think about their tip they want to give, because I have sprung this on them. So you're welcome. So let's go ahead and see which one of you already know your tip. So that way, maybe if somebody's not ready yet, they can go second or third. So if you already know which one it is, go ahead and unmute. Oh, Teresa is ready. Okay, Teresa, again, while you're here, just quickly again, say the name of your business and again, where they can find you, and then share your final tip.
Okay. I am Teresa from Teresa Silhouette Spot for all things art. My tip, and I love it, and it kind of plays into I think what Julie was saying before. I use brown paper from Home Depot to cover my tables. And it's the perfect place to practice. So if I have a struggling painter, we have a million papers. If I have a struggling painter and I walk over and they're frowning, you read the room, or there's like, you hear a sign like, oh, what's going on? Let me see. And then I'm like, oh, well, here, let's just practice on the paper. Watch my hand. I have the paint, and it's like right there. It's the brown paper. It doesn't go through because it's nice and thick, and it works perfect. And yeah. I even reuse it and have people who come back and like, oh, that's what I said last time.
That is awesome. So do you just roll it back up, Teresa?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't reuse it like forever, but I will reuse it because it's fine to keep reusing, and it's just a little bit painty, and it is a paint party. And I think people appreciate the fact that I do reuse it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it totally depends on people's personalities, where you are in the world too. A lot of people are very, in certain states and certain areas of the world, very recycle conscious. I mean, and then, there's other states where like, I'm just going to admit it. Like we don't even, if we see a recycling bin, we don't even know which one to put it in, because we're just so, unless you're in certain areas, it's just, you're not raised that way. And so I want y'all to know that you can do this any way you want. And Home Depot has those for super cheap. So that is a great, great tip, Teresa. Very great tip. Okay, so Teresa, thank you so much for being here. That is amazing. Okay, so I see Annie. She is ready to share her tip. Let's go ahead and add her to Spotlight. Okay, so first remind them of your name and your business, and then share your tip.
I'm Annie, and I'm with Divine Design Paint Studio. I want to share with you that I was once one of you on an expert call, and I sat back and listened, and I was very anxious and nervous. And what I want to remind you guys is that there are so many people in this group that are at different levels, and we have people that have never taught a paint party before, people that are teaching virtual parties. There's so many different levels of people in the group with so much experience they're starting out, they have all these different types of stories in their lives that are going on, all these different dreams and goals. And Paint Party headquarters, you can meet at any level. And I feel like I started out, not knowing anything. I never taught a paint party. I never had, I'd never been to a paint party. So, I had all these, I had a lot of anxiety, but with all the wisdom in this group, ask questions, get out there on the forum in the group and ask questions if you have a question, because they're going to answer it for you. They have so much experience with everything and at whatever level you're at. And I would still consider myself a beginner because I was with Heidi for over 2 years, but I wasn't doing anything. So I want you to get started. That's what I would say. I wish I would have got started right away, because once you teach that first party, like Julie said, it's like it'll blow you away. You're hooked, and know why you're doing it, know your why and the reason why that you want to do it. So know if you're going to teach virtual parties, you're going to concentrate on virtual parties. If you want to teach paint parties, then study your butt off. Ask the people that have been teaching 10,000 paint parties some questions. Get yourself involved in an accountability group, but know that we all start somewhere. And I started with nothing. I started with 0 audience, and now I have an email list, and I have venues, and I am making money for my family. And the first monthly payment that I made to PPHQ, I struggled to pay. And now I feel like, I don't know how to explain this, but they're paying me. I feel like PPHQ has given me so much knowledge and things. It's the value in the group is more than what you're paying on a monthly level anywhere. You're getting so much more than you can imagine. So, know that everyone starts somewhere. Don't be nervous. Ask questions. There's all different levels. There's so much in the group. And I would just encourage you to get started. Just get started. Don't be a fly on the wall. Time is precious. So start right away.
I love that. Yeah, start right away. Because again, you're going to get addicted. You're going to love it. I mean, you're going to see like, oh my gosh, this is why people keep going. I mean, Bobby will be like, Heidi, you said you were only going to do 1 a quarter now. And I'm like, but they asked and it's fun and it's 5 minutes away. It's just 8 people. I can go do it real quick, because I want to go do it. I mean, Tuesday night, I'm doing a paint party for 8 people and I had to move something around because it's my customers I've been with for years. Why would I say no? Because it's addicting. It's fun. It gets to a point where, and thank you, Annie, for sharing that. It gets to a point where it's not even about the money. It's about almost like if you go to work out, it helps your mental space. It's like if I go do a paint party, it helps my mental space. I mean, it's so wild. Let's let Denise share. Okay, so Denise, I want you to share your name again, your business name, and then of course, what is your big tip for them?
My name is Denise Day, and my business is Daydream Art. Just to kind of echo what everybody else is saying, I tried to do it on my own for probably a year or 2. And I was scared of failing. And just one of my big tips is don't be afraid to fail. And actually, if you do, be glad that you did, because then you've learned something from it. And you can take that and learn how to make it better next time. Just like Edison failed, hundreds of times before he got that light bulb. Every time he learned how not to do it. Mm-hmm. So, and this group is just amazing. I don't have friends that understand what I do. A lot of my family don't. My daughter does because she's in orders, but everyone else, they just don't get it. So this group, they get it. They go through the same struggles you do. They go through the same heartaches, the same excitements and awards, all the good things that you experience too. So you can relate to somebody in this group. And don't compare yourself. I have to constantly remind myself of that. And I listened to some of Heidi's speeches about not comparing myself to other people, because I work full time. So I cannot do the volume and the amount of parties and the money that some of these that are doing it full time can bring in. But I just do what I can do because it makes me happy. And remember, why you even started this to begin with is because you had a passion for art or a passion to help other people and to inspire other people. Other things, just in my class, toothbrushes. So I get not used ones, brand new ones from the dollar store, toothbrushes and old credit cards and gift cards, and let people use those to splatter for starry nights and for other things like that. They love it, especially when you tell them, don't go splattering your neighbor. And sometimes they actually do. I actually had one class that got into a splatter war. But they were all okay with it.
I didn't know you're supposed to buy new toothbrushes. I've been using Bobby's.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Denise, for saying that. I think it's so true. We just have to not compare ourselves because we're all on a different timeline. We're all on different paths of this paint party business. We all have different things that we're trying to have accomplished through it. And if we sit there and just compare ourselves, it's just a losing game when you go that route. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. If you find yourself starting to compare yourself, go get on a good podcast or go for a walk and listen to something uplifting, or go paint or do something besides sit there and compare yourself to people on social media. Because it's the highlight reel. Even if you looked at my social media right now, yes, you see the stuff about my mom, but you also see me having a lot of fun too. But that, there's a lot of that time that is not shown where I am literally crying my eyes out. Of course, we're not going to post that stuff, like we're all going through pains and hurts and fights with our family or, things going on, but we can't compare ourselves because, we want to, again, you're going to put on your social media, obviously your highlight reel, when people come to try to hire you as a person, if all of a sudden they just see somebody that's crying every 5 seconds, they're going to hire you. It's just truth, but we're humans. We have hurts and aches and pains and things that happen, but I'm not going to go every time my back hurts and go, oh my gosh, y'all please pray for me. My back's been hurting today. Like, y'all be cautious of that stuff. And I know it seems strange to say that, but we know those people on social media that, it could be literally like a mosquito bite got them and they're going to post about it, how it's the worst day of their life. And you're just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, give a care emoji, like, oh, care a lot for I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to be real. And so I want y'all to remember that, like, you are representing yourself as a leader and somebody to hire for a position. So when you post on your social media, always have that marketing brain in the background. Regardless of what you're going through, there's going to be a way you can still post about it, still share about it, still hopefully help somebody through a dark time, through what you're experiencing. And in that, Denise, I think you said it perfectly. We cannot compare ourselves because you are working full time. So you're not going to put out the volume that maybe Monique is putting out, who is doing this full time as her career. So again, I love that you mentioned that. That's so good. Thank you, Denise, for all your wisdom.
A good book that I'm reading right now, I haven't completed it, but Mel Robbins, The High Five Habit. It's all about, and it's talking about the psychology of your brain and just how to get yourself in a better place where you're congratulating yourself every day. You're giving yourself a high five. And I hadn't read this whole book, but I love it. And I would encourage anybody else to read that too.
I love Mel Robbins. She's really good. Yeah. And she's like, very good about just giving you like just very common sense advice, which I love. I don't like it when people talk way over like, oh, this, that. Like, I love the common sense advice. Okay. So Monique, you want to share again one more time your name, your business, and your tip for everybody?
Yes. So I'm Monique Pines and my business is Outrageous Brush and Flow. And my tip is actually just, the biggest one is listen to Heidi, and because you have opened so many doors. Like, I only was doing Canvas. That's all I thought, Canvas. Then got into PPHQ. I'm like, oh my gosh, wood? Oh my goodness, ceramics, and just putting myself out there, because at first I was nervous, like, I don't know if my, clients will want this. And they did. They're like, something new. So not being afraid, to try things out, to do different things. So now I do something different all the time. I have karaoke and paint, couples, painting with a live nude model.
Awesome.
Yes.
You're going all out. Julie's like,
Yes, it's called the Ooh La La paint experience.
Ooh la la. We're gonna have a whole another special training just for that.
Yes. But just not being afraid to try things, because at first I was like, oh my gosh, will they, but you know what? Try it. And as all the other ladies just echoing, do things while being afraid.
Yeah.
During the COVID, I had my first really large party, which was 137. When I say I was so nervous, although it was virtual, but I'm like, 137 people are going to be looking at my face. They're going to be seeing that I barely have eyebrows and I penciled them on. But once I got on, it was just like, there are people just like me. And it was a great time. So, just not being afraid to put yourself out there, and 'cause you don't know what the world, we have so much inside of us that we don't even know our potential. It's through the roof.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And I had never, ever even thought about your eyebrows. Like I always, so like my lips, I have
really? Because I've never noticed.
Never noticed. And yeah, never noticed. I actually draw all of this whole side onto myself. So yeah. But yeah, I'm like that about my bottom lip. I have no lips, and unless I put on lipstick, there are no lips. So sometimes if I go on and I don't have, I'm like, oh man, all I am is teeth. I'm just teeth and no lips. So yeah, I mean, it's the things we are worried about that nobody else thinks. It's our, we see your personality.
Right.
Yeah, and just how beautiful you are. So those are great. Oh, thank you. I think too, y'all, it's something about being yourself. Obviously, today I do not have foundation on, and that is a big thing for me because I'm usually full makeup anytime I'm on camera. But something about I always feel like I always compare myself okay, Dolly, she ain't going nowhere without makeup. So if she ain't going nowhere without makeup, I'm not going nowhere without makeup. And so today I took a risk. That's why I'm really shiny, and you can see I have a lot of red, on my face, but I was like, I'm not putting on base. We had to do Pixie's wisdom teeth this morning. It was a whole deal. And so I was like, you know what? We're not doing it. But that's the thing. I think that by us being human and not being perfect, it makes people relate to you more, especially if you're going to be online and doing stuff like that. So, not having a big old, we can all go buy huge lips, and I'm not against that. I've actually tried several times, but Bobby said he would divorce me. So I can't. I would love to have a bottom lip. Y'all have no idea how bad I would love to go get this injected, but he will not let me. It's a whole nother story. Okay. So we have 2 more people I want to share, and then we're going to call it an evening. So April, everyone, let's go ahead and share your final tip, and then we'll end with Julie. And if I have missed anybody, please let me know.
I drive most of my business, between my email and Facebook. Facebook is my jam. That's where I run my business. I don't have a huge, crazy audience that physically follows my page, but I know I reach a lot more than what physically follows me. I land in their feed because they buy tickets from me. So I am, and I went through a social media class and just to check up, because it's good to get opinions from other people that know what they're doing to make sure you're doing the right stuff. And she did a review on my page of Hot Seat, and she's like, holy cow, you have a lot of events. I'm like, I drive traffic to my paint parties by creating Facebook events and driving traffic that way. Mm-hmm. And you have to be aware of the language you use on Facebook so you don't get banned and blocked. I don't ever I did a pig party with a floral thing on its head. I don't ever do, even if the artist names it something pig, I don't use that. This was pretty in pink. I use something that isn't going to flag me for animal sales and that kind of stuff, because that's a big thing on Facebook. You have to play by their rules.
So roosters, I got flagged for roosters.
I know, right? I mean, even using like American such and such for an American flag can get you banned or, you know, in trouble, and they won't show your stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to think PC and like broad view and label your stuff that way so it drags attention to you. I put a post in PPHQ about blocking, or maybe I sent it to somebody. Anyways, if someone has problems with spam bots, just message me, because I have a tip for the main countries you should block so that you don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all anymore, at all, ever.
Mm.
And I have certain ways I do things on my page. If you go look at it, you can see pretty quickly what obviously works for me. So don't be afraid to learn new things, to change things up if something isn't working as well as you think it could. Even as long as I've done this, I still learn every single day. I still chatter back and forth between ladies that I'm friends with that we'll check in on each other, random messages, you know. I'll harass Randy with Diverse to do something. He just messaged me. I saw it flash on my screen. I couldn't wait. I did the samples for this awesome paint party idea that I have. And so I reach out to people to get like the vibe and help me get what I really want to have them do for us, because I know it's not just going to help me, but it's going to help everybody else. So we're a big family in PPHQ, and that's why I'm here. It's a place where everybody gets me. And even if they don't fully get what I'm saying, somebody does. At least once every week, if not more, someone says, "Oh my gosh, thanks for answering that. I love reading your comments." I'm different. I'm a unicorn of the painting world. I do things different. I listen to Heidi's advice. I don't do all of Heidi's advice. I'm super introverted, even though I appear extrovert. I'll crash after I'm done with this because I expended so much energy to be up. I go down, but I'm not big on lives. I'm just not. I do a ton of virtual stuff, and that doesn't freak me out, but you go live, I have this whole mental breakdown that it can be bad. So I do it, but not very often. And so I engage my customers in different ways. So there's 50 million ways to do this, and there's no wrong way or right way. It's what works for you and fits your life. And as you grow, things change. Don't be afraid to change, because the way I run my business now is completely different than when I started.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's an evolving, growing thing, and nurture it. Nurture yourself as you go.
Yeah. A couple things. Number one, I always see your comments. It's like I always see you, and I always see Teresa's all the time. I don't know. Every time I pull it up, I'm seeing Teresa or April, and I love y'all's comments. And then also, so the way you feel about lives, and that's how I feel about shipping. I go through the whole mental, emotional issues there. When I start to, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell a kit just to show Paint Party headquarters if it's valid or not. And then I'm like, dang it, we got to ship these now. I don't want to do it. So I totally get it. And April, tell them where they can find you again real quick, and then we'll end with Julie.
Mostly on Facebook, but I'm on Google and Instagram too. It's Paint with April. And I'm in PPHQ all the time. And it's funny because Mari, the Facebook expert, she said, "You have a lot of Facebook presence." I'm like, the algorithm loves me. Like, it's my jam. If you play the game and you are in it to help people and nurture people, Facebook will love you. I truly believe that. Give more than you get, and it compounds.
Yeah.
You know, it's the good vibe. It's the being kind to yourself. I have a rule at my paint parties where there's no negativity. I nip that in the butt like that. And if I don't even have to do it now, my painters do it for me. They're like, no, she has a rule. And they're like, what? She has a rule? I'm like, no negativity. And I go into a spiel about, like, I started paint parties because I live in a house full of men, and even my dogs are men. And, you know, I needed my time and I needed income to help with school stuff for my boys. And, you know, because I talk about this, but my goal of this was to pay for their college, and they're currently debt free. Even with COVID, my business has exploded. So, you know, give it to God and listen, and don't be afraid to walk through the doors that he blows down for you, because it's amazing. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. And like you said, there's a million ways to do this. So stop thinking there's only one way, because there's not.
No, my business is almost about 99% completely on my phone. I'm even on this chat on my phone. I couldn't figure out how to turn it landscape because something with Zoom is set up weird with my last
Okay,
updates.
doesn't matter. You're
It
here.
flipped me sideways.
You'll
So I mean,
find.
my Apple iPhone is my lifeline to my business, and everything's on my phone, my notes, my calendar. Like I write things down too, but I learned that I'm so busy because I work full time and I have 2 boys that are busy with college full time and my husband, and I manage everybody's schedule besides just myself. So
Oh, wow.
if it's not on my phone, I might leave it on my kitchen table.
I'm the opposite way. I'm like, y'all manage yourself because I can't even, like, I have papers everywhere. I'm like, unless it's written on my forehead and my arm and 3 alarms and that calendar, it ain't getting done. Well, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, but thanks
Nicole.
for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, I'm so glad you were here. Thanks for being here and offering so much value. And we're going to end with Julie. So Julie, if you want to add your final tip, and then we'll call it a night.
No pressure.
No pressure. It's got to be good because you're the final. It's got to be good.
So once again, I'm Julie Ferris with Paint Party with Julie. Try and keep it simple. And I think especially getting started and sometimes over and over again, we struggle with self-doubt. And is anybody going to want to paint with us? Are we going to have anybody that's going to sign up? Will they have a good time? And you can, I mean, I wish we could take a survey real quick, but I don't know if I had $1 for every time I heard somebody tell me tonight was exactly what I needed. This was the most fun I've had in a long time. You know, I can't wait to do this again. And those are sometimes just the nice compliments. Then you get somebody that comes up to you with like tears in their eyes, or, you know, they tell you this heart-wrenching story that you didn't know. They came to your party, you were playing music and having a good time, and you don't know the difference that you're going to make in those people's lives. And so instead of thinking, why me? And I know, Heidi, you say this all the time, why not you? Because I guarantee it's not about paint parties. It is, but it's not. It's what we get to serve our painters, our customers who become our friends. I had a friend that I met at a paint party. She was one of my painters, and I got to attend her wedding a month ago. I mean,
Oh yeah, pictures. Yeah.
The relationships that you build are amazing, but what we get to bring to this world, and yes, it's paint parties. We're not, you know, solving any major world crises, but our world needs more happiness. It needs more love. It needs more laughter. And I always say it needs more color too. We get to color the world with all those things. So yes, it is so important what we do. It's a paint party, but it's so much more than a paint party. Because like I said, if I had $1 for every time somebody told me this is exactly what I needed, you know, and I think that that's so important. So we get to have that impact on the painters, but then we get to reap such amazing benefits. We get paid so well for what we do. Yeah. And I'm going to echo what all of the roundtable, you know, people have said, the relationships. As I'm looking at all of these beautiful faces, I've had great conversations. I've had tearful conversations with all of these ladies. I consider them my close friends. And mentors, and then I can pour into them when they're struggling. So we get to do those things. And April, paying for her boy, they're going to graduate with no debt. How amazing is that? Yeah, huge round of applause. Mm-hmm. But then on the flip side of that, I love to take art to last night I spent some time with some ladies going through recovery. It's a Christian you know, program, so I get to blare my Christian music, and we were doing some Bible journaling, and I'm going to try not to cry, but in a moment I just took a step back, and there's 16 women in this room, and some of them are laughing and having the best time with their friend. Some other ladies are singing, you know, beautifully to worship and praise music. And then I look in the back, and there's 2 ladies with tears coming down their eyes, raising their hands. And I'm just the crazy lady that brought the art supplies and the music, but that's what I get to bring. And that's the value that you bring, whether it's women in recovery or a good time at a winery, you know, with some, you know, ladies' night, or if it's a date night. If you ever wonder, would anybody want to paint with me? I can tell you before that thought even is in your brain, yes, what you're going to bring to this world is of value. And if you question that, think of what if Heidi let her nerves not open this beautiful paint party headquarters experience. You don't rob the world of the blessing of you. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but you do this once, twice, 500 times, 1,000 times, 5,000 times, and you will know that As creative people, we can be a little quirky, but I love to say that I can't not share my love of art, just like I can't not have freckles on my face, and I have a whole bunch of them, and when you step into that space, guys, your life will be more colorful and beautiful than you can even imagine. So I'm going to end it with that. So hopefully that was a good little tip for you to when you get in, I call it stinking thinking. When you get in that headspace, jump in Paint Party headquarters and type, I'm having a bad day, I'm feeling discouraged. And within a blink of an eye, you're going to have 2,000 people that are going to be your cheerleaders rooting right behind you. So guys, I'm so excited, and we genuinely mean we are here to encourage you, to uplift you, to cheer you on. I hope that this is the first day of a really amazing chapter in your guys' art life.
Oh my gosh, you had me crying.
Aw.
Way to go, Julie.
That's why I don't wear mascara, just FYI.
Thank you so much for that. That was awesome. Okay, so y'all, I'm so happy you're here. Like I said, I'm so happy. The round table, y'all stayed late for this, in true fashion. We always over deliver. So when I said an hour, I should have just said, y'all know it's going to be a little bit longer than that. So thank you for staying longer. And also, I just want to say a huge thank you for trusting me. Like Julie said, if I would have not gotten over my nerves and my anxiousness, I always refer to myself as I'm this wet chihuahua inside, just always shaking, and I just and there's this ball of anxiety at all times. And I feel like especially this past couple of years, I've come to terms with that's almost like one of my superpowers. I feel like because I have that anxiety, I can channel it into this endless energy of, doing a lot more things than most people won't do in a week. I can do in a day because I have all of that anxiousness. And so if you have that anxiousness or you have that, start looking at it as a superpower and start channeling it into doing things for good. And I really, really think that whether you're doing this at shelters or at different places or at schools or wherever it's at, whether you're making money doing this or you're just doing this for fun on the side, for social, just being social, whatever it is for, please know that you matter, know that what you're doing is important and that we're here to help you. So thank y'all for being here. Thank you for taking this time. All of y'all that came, I just appreciate y'all. I hope this was helpful. And anything you need, just reach out to us. That's what we're here for. And please let us know if you need anything. Basically customer service, if you ever need help with customer service, just support at paintpartyheadquarters.com. They will help you with anything you need regarding billing or questions. And then remember, it's not just the Facebook group. We have the app, we have the website, we send you emails, all of that. So I can't wait to help you more. And thank you for trusting me. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Bye, y'all. I'll see you inside Paint Party headquarters. Welcome.